I almost slept on my instant death ability, and then someone referred to it as the One Punch Man of Isekai, and apparently the MC might be one of the rare cases that could beat Saitama from One Punch Man, and I said, hold the phone, let me check this one out. And that statement is 100% true. This MC can kill anyone with a single thought, and seemingly, if you even try to kill him, it might even be an automatic defense system. You heard me right. This man literally can just say die and you will die. Now, is there going to be characters who can withstand it? Maybe. But you might want to say, well, if that's the case, how can you have a show? To be honest, I said the same thing about One Punch Man. If a person could one punch anyone, how could you have a show? And then season 1 showed me how much of a comedic action masterpiece that show could be. And this show, while I don't think is going to be a masterpiece, I can safely say is going to be a very enjoyable watch, given the fact that it is silly as hell. This man wakes up on a bus after being transported into a world, pulls out his switch after one-shotting a dragon, and pretty much just says, what's for dinner? He has no care in the world. And this show's goofy as hell, and I want more. I have a full live reaction to this wonderful episode over on my Patreon, so if you would like to see that, it's over there if you're interested. This is a very fun watch. I immediately was worried when I saw how overpowered it actually was. I was like, man, I feel like this is the type of show that's going to try to take itself super seriously, and I'm just going to be like, there's no stakes. And almost immediately, I'm just like, he pulled out a goddamn video game. And just the fact that this girl can, after seeing her class pretty much skewered by a dragon, I mean, the best way to describe her is I felt like she was kind of like tapping her fingers together, kind of twiddling her thumbs, being like, you know, I know you just killed a bunch of people, but this is the first time we really talked a lot. And I'm like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way we're having this conversation right now after what I just saw. There's these 3 creeps. Now, there's actually world building here. There's actually a lot of world building. But you have these 3 creeps who pop up, who apparently have been in this world for about a year before, came back to their original world, and apparently only like a few hours passed. So they were already kind of like max level. They were flying, launching fire blasts. They were basically a dragon in a human form. And they're like, hey girl, we're gonna take you out for a fun time. And they had some very nasty thoughts. And immediately he just kills 2 of them. And he's like, hey, the 3rd one, we're gonna kill him too. And I love how it's just like, this fat boy pretty much thinks that like, okay, you know what? It can't get any worse. He puts a slave collar on himself and pretty much gets ownership for our MC, who tells him to go wait in the forest and die basically after taking all of the loot that they built up over the course of a year. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Isekai kind of have a goddess saying, hey, you're a chosen hero, you're gonna go save the world. We see that a lot. This woman pops up, says, hey, you guys basically have a month. There's gonna be a bunch of missions. First, I'm gonna kill your teacher. I'm gonna kill your bus driver. Make sure you understand you know who's mommy. And we're gonna see what happens. Good luck. Oh, a few of you weren't good enough for my menu system? Sucks to be you. I assume it's because either they actually weren't compatible, or in the case of our MC, he's already has the powers installed in him, because they start the episode off with this instant death ability, and it looks identical to him, so I think he came from this world and went to the normal world at some point. But either way, the idea that instant death magic is a thing, and I feel like that maybe is where some drama could come in, because if there's other people with similar abilities, then that could be interesting to see whose instant death ability could kill first. I don't know, but it is silly. If anyone tries to tell me that this first episode wasn't silly as hell, you are a damn dirty liar. I'm putting my foot down. This dude was goofy as hell. They were silly as hell. It was badass when he casually one-shots a dragon with just casually thinking about it and just the murder that pops up. But this girl, I figured she would be very emotional, like, oh my god, this is horrifying, like I'm seeing everyone die around me. After waking this fool up on the bus and having multiple dead bodies in front of them, she's like, yeah, you know, so this is casually what happened, so how was your sleep? She's like unfazed. They're unfazed by this nonsense, and I'm like, at no point did anyone even try to wake my boy up. As everything was happening with the sage, he was chilling in the back seat, sound asleep, and the only reason he woke up was because some titties pressed against his arm, and I'm just like, there ain't no way. But like I said, there is actually a lot of world building going on here, which fascinates me. The idea of the sages and the fact about instant death magic, the fact that this is a pretty common occurrence. Hell, 3 of these students who apparently were always in their class, they only disappeared for a few hours, were here before for like a year. Like, it's very interesting what they're doing. And I think while the show is ridiculously funny and silly and out of pocket, there is actually some pretty interesting stories they're going to tell here. And I think this really does feel like the One Punch Man of Isekai anime. And honestly, if Saitama and this dude did fight, I don't see how Saitama would win, right? Because all he has to do is think. Like, I guess you could make the argument Saitama's so fast, maybe he wouldn't have time to respond and, like, he could kill him first. But I don't know, man. Like, this character, I legitimately think is one of the most powerful OP characters I've ever seen, and I've only seen one episode of him, and I feel like that statement's just going to continue more and more. Even if he couldn't beat Saitama, it doesn't change the fact that this dude's built different. I really don't even know what I want to see from this show. I was going to skip it because the poster looked generic as hell. The name was like, oh, my instant death ability. I was like, oh, that's just, it's not going to be fun. But it was legitimately funny. I was laughing. I was smiling watching this. There are going to be better anime than this specifically this season. I think that's 100%. If I'm just looking at today in particular, I think Delicious in Dungeon is a better show. Just quality, consistency, everything. But at a pure enjoyment level, this show clicks with me, and I think it's goofy, silly, badass as hell, and I want to see how out of pocket a man who can simply say just die and is unfazed by cold-blooded murder can go, because you look at him and you think he's just an average dude, but the fact that he can so casually kill people like that and just want to continue playing his Monster Hunter or something is insane to me. This was one of the more pleasant surprises that I've seen so far this season, and I think this season is going to be insane. I mean, there's pretty much at least 3 shows a day I'm watching between Friday to Saturday. Like, there's a lot of, like, interesting shows that I'm going to be talking about this season, but there's something about Isekai, man. Like, as trashy as they can be and as many as I've seen, they just continue to find ways to make me say, are you actually kidding me right now? When's the last time I've seen a big-ass dragon get one shot at the start as casually kids are getting skewered and this man's pulling out his Pokemon? Like, it's fantastic. I need more. I would binge the entire season if I had it at my fingertips right now. That's how hooked I am after this first episode. I highly recommend it if you're still on the fence and you're like, listen, I don't know, Brandon. No, I say go watch it. It's funny as hell, man. It's ridiculous, but it's funny, brutal, and savage as hell, and the world building has me incredibly intrigued. It's twisting what I thought I knew about Isekai a little on their head and turning it into a fascinating new direction. But now listen, those are my feelings. People may have their own. They may absolutely hate this, say it's generic as hell. If you say it's generic as hell, I'd question that opinion just because, like, okay, I don't know how often we see this type of OP-ness and silliness, but you know what? Opinions differ. Let me know what you're feeling though down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, and of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more to the channel. And like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, you'll also get a video shout out. Alright, so today we have Laguna Net, Hirain 12, Noir, Sean Cafferkey, Digital Maiko, and Dragon Mum. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.